workers. You know the story here. These grocery workers are up against 3 corporations. Ralph's, Albertsons, and the Vons supermarket chains. Now these 3 corporations made over $5 billion last year alone. And they want to push out and force workers to choose. You know, workers like the cashiers, the baggage clerks, the meat cutters. They want them to give up to half of their salary in order to keep health care for their families. You know, this is about what's fair, and it's about hard work. It's about if you work hard in this country, then you ought to be able to take your child or your spouse, your significant other, or yourself to the doctor and not have to choose between that and poverty. That's not what America's all about. But you in the NAACP, you know that. You understand that. That's been the history of the struggle for civil rights and equality, and you've been doing it for decades and decades. You know what it's like to be up against great injustices. And we thank you because you fought for and won over and over equal rights and fair treatment and social justice in housing and in the voting booth and on the job. This year in Wisconsin, the people there took a stand against those who are trying to take away the rights of workers to bargain fairly, to bargain for what's right for them and their families. But we need to make LA a national stand for all working people against corporate greed in this nation. Now these grocery corporations, they say they are in the food business, but they're really in the ghetto creation business. Because the big 3 grocery companies, they have more than 300 stores in LA County. But those of us in LA know we go to the inner city. In the heart of the African American community, you can barely find a single major supermarket. Now some people call it a food desert. We call it a food ghetto. A desert is an act of nature. This was no act of nature. It's a result of a conscious decision by these companies like Ralph's to not build in the inner cities where people of color live. Because of that, we don't have access to the fresh food. We don't have good jobs for people to work in the construction of those stores. We don't have good jobs for the clerks and cashiers, which our communities need. You know, they want to do something else and ghettoize the jobs of the clerks. Over the years, they've driven down the wages. They've driven down the number of hours. And now they want to make health insurance unaffordable and inaccessible. Well, workers, they're forcing workers to choose between health care and welfare. And we're not going to let that happen. That is not the choice that we're going to allow them to make for us. As women, as people of color, as workers, we're rising up against Ralph's. We're rising up against Vons. We're rising up against Albertsons. And if they want to choose confrontation, then they're going to get us from confrontation from all of us together. So sisters and brothers, Ralph wants welfare. We want health care.